Okay, well, we don't have any real big contacts there. The other thing I want to do here is I'd actually like to make that edge adjacent to that edge and not have such a spacing right here. So we need to kind of bring that area out a little bit. Let's make that a little bit thicker so we don't have a food trap. We can do that by doing just what I did. I also want to, let's bring that distal area. I also want to look down the margins of the tooth here. And I see that we can actually bring this tooth out this way a little bit. So I'm going to go to a different angle here and actually bring that out, move that, expand that buccally. Oops, not the other way. Excuse me, lingually it needs to go. So I'm going to expand lingually. My cusp, I'll look down the line angle at it. A little bit thick over here, so I'm going to bring those back, pushed out a little bit far. I'll bring that area in a little bit. Kind of draw it down the line angle of the other teeth. Symmetrical there. Also want to bring this contact area. Doesn't have a whole lot of room between that and the upper arch, so we have to kind of keep it at a lower profile than sometimes we'd like to, but that's just how the upper teeth and lower teeth articulate. So we have that there. Also want to see how light we have. So we're pretty close down here, so I need to raise that area up. This is showing the depth of how little amount of is to the prep. We need to make that a little bit wider so we don't have a little bit more material there. So I'm going to bring that up. So we have kind of a greenish, yellowish tinge to it. I'll bring that in a little bit. Bring that area in a little bit. Okay. Actually bring the distal towards the other way there. We kind of play with it a little bit until we get a tooth that's showing a little heavy contact there. But we don't have really heavy contacts anywhere with that. And model there. I'm going to bring some of those areas up just a hair bit more. Just make them a little taller. Let's see how that does with the biting surface. They're still good. Excellent. Angles down right. I have it down the cusp to cusp all the way around. Tooth looks pretty good there. Now what we need to, now that we have our crown kind of in the proportions that we want them to be in, I want to actually take that cusp down just a smidge. It looks a little high to me. That looks better. Now that we have our contacts on the occlusal and we have our dimensions on the sides, I'm going to have to check the contact pressure that we have between this tooth and this tooth. So I'm going to take away the rest of the model And I'm going to take away those words so I don't get in my way. I can see we have a little heavy contact in there. This is showing the contact strength between that and the other tooth. If it's too strong, it won't be able to get any floss between it. If it's too light, it can be a food trap. So I'm going to enlarge that up so we can move that down where we can see it. And I'm going to kind of smooth that surface out until we get kind of a bluish green color here. That's a good solid contact there. And also look around the margin areas of the tooth and see if that looks good. You have to expand out a little bit to get a good solid contact base there, because you don't want a food trap. So it's actually pushing that tooth. We might have had a little bit of a space between there before on the natural tooth, so we're trying to actually kind of correct that and keep that from being a food trap. So we're expanding it out a little bit further over here. But that looks pretty good, I have to say. Checked again the density of this crown. Everything is for the most part blue and green. Not so worried about that particular part down there. That looks very nice. So, now that we have that done, what I'm going to go ahead and do is check the spacing. This is the spacing for the cement that we use. And I generally like to keep it at about a 12.12 millimeters of spacing. It's pretty small, 0.12, but that's all we need right in there. So that's about right. And we will go on to apply that. And once that's done, we're ready for the milling phase to begin. So it automatically places a sprue there, and we can change where we want that sprue to come out. So we'll have to cut that off after it comes out of the mill. We look at it, make sure everything looks all right. I actually do is, well, I'm going to change this so that we can put it on potentially a smaller die block. We'd like to use an I-12. It mills a little quicker if we do it that way than a larger block. We want to put the sprue in an area where it's not too troubling, or it's easy to cut it off. It won't affect anything. That's about where we want to put it. So I'm going to use an I-12 block, and I want to simulate the actual milling process before we finish it. So I've hit that. I'll look at it from the underneath side. You got good contact all the way around the margins of the tooth. That's what we're looking for. That's excellent. Got a good bite. Everything looks great there. So now we are ready to send that to the mill. So that's what we will do next. I'm going to hit send to mill. And hit OK. The next step will be in the milling phase. While the milling machine is going on, I've actually picked out the shade that we need. And you notice it's purple. I don't know if you can see that, but it's a purple block. It's got some metal around here. This actually will fit within the mill, and the CAD cam or the drills within the machine will perfectly mill that out into a crown. Pretty amazing technology. Take a big square block and make a crown out of it. Also, it's kind of strange when you have a purple block and you go, how is that going to be a shade of a tooth, or shape the color of the tooth? Well, this is translated, this A3 block is translated into the shade that we're looking for. So that's what we're about to do. As soon as the machine comes up, we'll be ready to go.